Hello, Klaus here, and welcome back to yet another video here at the channel. In today's video, we're going to have a look at a new plugin. The plugin I am talking about is the plugin from Accusonus, the ERA5 bundle, and we're going to have a look at the standard version of that. And what this thing will do is it's supposed to make your audio sound from very bad to way better. And I'm going to run through the different things it can do with some different clips. And that's basically what this video is going to be all about. So I'll tell you my honest opinion about the product as well. Even though Accusonus did send me a copy, I wasn't asked to say anything specific, just to try it out and come with my honest opinion. And of course, that is what I am going to do in this video. If you are new to this channel and want to learn filmmaking, having a look at some pretty cool gear, and of course learn Davinci Resolve along the way, I would recommend you to subscribe. Okay, so let's start this video by checking out the different plugins for the ERA5 bundle. And of course, as usually, I will talk to you along the way. So let's get right to it and let's get going. For this test, we are testing out the noise remover. And as you might hear from this clip in the background here, you can hear the fan of my computer running. And using this plugin, we should be able to remove that totally, or at least make it sound a lot better. Okay, so let's apply the voice remover. First off, we'll go into our effects library. And under our VST effects, we'll have the ERA5 bundle here, and here I have the noise remover, and I'm just going to put on the noise remover. And here we have the settings, or the way all of the plugins in the ERA5 actually works. It works with this dial we have right here, and you can control how much you want to apply of the different things by turning the dial up and down like so. And that is super easy to do, and it's also pretty intuitive. Also, we have the different ways we can do the focus on as well. Let's have a look here at how the things actually work here. We have the different ways we could focus, or the different targets we could run. And if we use this down here, that is all the frequencies available. You are going to target those. Here we have the high frequencies, and that is noise such as tape sounds and stuff like that in the background. Here we have the low frequencies, which is pretty good to remove wind noise. And then here we have the high and low frequencies, which is good for both of those. And here, of course, the middle range. So this sound we are trying to remove now is actually a fan of some sort. So I think we could be pretty happy just starting with the high frequency of that. At least we can try. So let's just run this clip through, and I'll turn up the dial as well. So let's go. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter was too bitter, so Betty bought a better bit of butter. Okay, I don't know if you could hear. Back again to this, and then we can actually just turn up and turn on the ERA bundle here by using this. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter was too bitter, so Betty bought a better bit of butter. And it's pretty hard to hear. So if we go to the point here where we actually can hear the noise, you can hear the fan of my computer running in the background here. We can then turn it on here. Whoa, almost disappeared. And then again, when you're doing your noise reduction and stuff like this, it is always best to do the noise reduction first and then do different things as leveling the voices afterwards. So the noise won't have to fight too much to fix it. Also, if you want to know some specific thing about the plugins, you can push the info button right here, and then you can actually read some stuff about how it all works. Take that off again. And also, if you have like bus sounds such as cables and stuff like that making a hum, you can use this button right here to remove that quick and easy. So let's go to the next one. So reverb is one of the most annoying things to have in your videos. The sound being bounced around in the room, and it's also a very irritating thing to remove, but luckily the plugin from Accusonus got you covered right here. So let's try out the reverb. So I'm just going to drag down the reverb down to the clip here, and of course here again we have our dial where we can dial in what we actually need. So first off, I'm just going to turn off the plugin so we can hear how it sounds. So filmmaking is all about using your imagination and your creativity. And as you can hear, it is a very empty room making some reverb. So let's see what we can do about that. So let's first off turn on the plugin again, and let's go down from 0 and then just go through it slowly. So filmmaking is all about using your imagination and your creativity to make great, awesome stories. So I guess you can hear the difference. And of course, it's all about not going too crazy with using these effects, because it is going to make some artifacts in your voice, of course, but it is very nice to know that you have it. And I think for this particular clip, I feel like something around here maybe sounds good. So filmmaking is all about using your imagination. And we're now going to take it and your creativity to make. I hope you can hear the difference in this plugin. It is pretty nice, I think. Also, if you are very familiar with removing reverbs, there is different focus things here, high frequency, low frequencies, but depending on the room, you might not even know what kind of thing it is. So it is best just to leave it at the default, at least in this case. Let's go to the next one. So for this test, I'm just going to talk to the microphone, which is right here, and I'm going to turn my head as well, so the voice leveler will have something to work with. So let's do that. Okay, and now let's test out the voice level. I'm just again going to drag that on here. Also, it's very nice to build in these pop-up notifications telling us some nice information. If we are going to remove background noise, we should do that before we do anything with the voice leveler, which is nice to know. But in this case, we are just going to do a test with the voice leveler. And as you saw, I am moving my head around a lot. So let's start out testing this little thing here. We have the clip right here, and now let's see what it's actually doing. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, so Fuzzy wasn't fuzzy, now was. So just to tell you what it's actually doing here, if you look down at the waveform down here, you'll see that the black part of the waveform is the normal waveform, and the yellow is where it's doing its voice leveling thing and making everything at the same level. So also you have breath control here, and what that is doing is it's actually trying to, if you are taking a breath, it's trying to figure out that sound that is making, and it's actually pretty clever in turning down the volume up and down very fast, so it's pretty hard to notice it actually. The empathies, if you use that thing, and we are going to use that because that is very useful. If, for instance, like in this clip, I am moving my head around, as you see right here. If you are moving my head around, as you see here, so Fuzzy wasn't fuzzy, now was he? It'll try to make it sound as it's very even. hair, so Fuzzy wasn't fuzzy. And that is, of course, a little bit hard. Do that. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, so Fuzzy wasn't fuzzy. Now, was he? Of course, this is an extreme example. And again, as usually, we can use the dial to dial it in a little bit less if we want that. Do that. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, so Fuzzy wasn't fuzzy. Now, was he? So also we have another function, and this is in all of the plugins. You can actually do A/B testing. So for instance, if we let A be like 81, and then we push B, and we're going to have it on 40, something like that, we could run through it like this, and then click A and B. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, so Fuzzy wasn't fuzzy. And that way we can actually decide which we like the best. Okay, so let's check out the Voice Deepener. Here just a little clip without anything applied at all. When we look back at 2020, we'll all remember the insane amount of hand sanitizers we all used and the big amount of toilet paper our neighbors bought. Because we didn't do that. So that was the clip I used, and without anything. And the idea of using the Voice Deepener is, of course, to make this more bassy voice, like a movie trailer or something like that. So let's see if we can make this sound a little bit more like a movie trailer. So now it is just applied, and again we have two modes. We have a normal mode and a punchy mode. And if we use the punchy mode, I'm sure you will have a little more of that deep bass voice or trailer voice. So let's just hear it with the plugin applied. Let's have a look here. It's on 40%, by the way. When we look back at 2020, we'll all remember the insane amount of hand sanitizers we all used. And already now it is a bit more bassy, but let's play around with this. Actually, if we go from 0 to 100, we can actually see what this does. So let's start on again. When we look back at 2020, we'll all remember the insane amount of hand sanitizers we all used and the big amount of toilet paper our neighbors bought. Because we didn't do that. And as you actually heard, that was quite bassy. Again, if we want to do a let's say a more like a movie trailer, we could use the punchy down here. So I'm just going to push that, and let's boost this up to, let's say, 74% or something like that. And let's have a listen to the new trailer film voice. When we look back at 2020, we'll all remember the insane amount of hand sanitizers we all used and the big amount of toilet paper our neighbors bought. Because we didn't do that. And as you just heard, I did adjust it just a bit because it was a little bit too bassy on 74%. So, I mean, you can play around with that. That is super fun to do. And it is a nice tool if you want to bass up your voice. Okay, so let's test out the declipper on this clip here. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. So you know, it clips a little bit. So let's try to put in the declipper here. And let's have a look at how this actually works. In the declipper, we can actually take our output and we can lower that a bit. And then let's push the declipper. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. So Fuzzy wasn't fuzzy now, was he? So already now that is helping out quite a bit. Again, let's do a comparison here. Let's take it off. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. So Fuzzy wasn't fuzzy now. What? So actually, as you hear, even though he wasn't fuzzy, you hear that how high the fuzzy part is, right? Wasn't fuzzy now, was he? So it's not bringing the clipped audio all the way back, but it's absolutely making it way better to listen to. And maybe you're thinking about type 1 and type 2 and what that is. If you're working with type 1 audio, that is like high quality audio, like waveforms. And if you're working with MP3 files, which you maybe not should do, but somebody likes those formats as well, you should use the second declipper here. And also we have, again, down here, again, standard and high. And if you have a computer with a lot of CPU, you could use the high because it's using a lot of that. And if you have a normal computer, you would just use standard. So that's something to play around with. But the declipper is a nice tool in this Accusonus Bundle 5. Okay, so let's have a look at this little clip here. 2-1 was a racehorse, 1-2 was 1-2, 2-1-1-1 race, 2-1-1-1-2. So we're going to try to use the de-esser on this. Now first off, I'm going to take my de-esser and put that down here on my audio. Okay, now we have that selected. We're just going to move that to the side, and then let's have a listen to that now. First off, I'm going to take the volume button here, the button all the way down to 0, and then let's just apply it towards the clip. And then I'll have a listen at how that sounds. 2-1 was a racehorse, 1-2 was 1-2, 2-1-1-1 race, 2-1-1-1-2. Okay, so of course this was not the most easiest thing, of course, but just to let you know what it's actually doing is all the black audio is, of course, the normal audio, and the green dots here is actually where it does apply all the de-essers. So it's a nice little thing. And of course, you could, again, change the modes from normal to broad. And if we do that, it'll just... 2-1 was a racehorse, 1-2 was... Be a little more aggressive to that as well. And you can see there's more green S's. 1-2, 2 that it wants to remove. So I think, again, it is very nice. Also, if you can see the audio waveform, you can put this button here, and it will only play the sounds it's actually removing. As you see, or as you heard. So that's also a pretty nice little tool. So for this test, we are trying to remove the plurals or the P's, if we do not have a pop filter in front of our microphones, which I do not have right here. Then it can sound terrible. So hopefully we can make this little tongue twister sound a lot better. Okay, so let's see if we can remove some P's, as you hear right here. Peter Pan popped a popsicle. Okay, we are going to take our plugin, we're going to add that in, and here we have our controls. And again, we could go down to 0, and then let's just turn the dial and have a listen. Peter Pan popped a popsicle. It is a very short one, but... Peter Pan popped a popsicle. Again, just to let you understand what the waveform are, is the black are the normal parts of the waveform, and the yellow is all the P's being removed. And as the de-esser, you can again push the diff button, and you can now hear only what you've been removing. So it's actually working. Again, you do not have to go too crazy with this, because it can sound a bit unnatural as well if you push it all the way to 100, but you can play around with it and find what level suits your audio the best. Also, again, the normal mode and the extreme mode. The normal mode is if you have a normal amount of P's, and the extreme if you have a lot of them. Peter Pan popped a popsicle. Peter Pan popped a popsicle. You can hear the difference here, normal. Peter Pan popped a popsicle. And here we have the extreme. Peter Pan popped a popsicle. And of course, there's also this very neat plugin in the bundle. It is the ERA5 AutoEQ. And if we just apply that to this clip here, we are going to have this pop-up menu here telling us that it's waiting for some audio playback. And let's do that. And it will then determine how the EQ should be according to the voice recording. So let's play that.
When we look back at 2020, we'll all remember the insane amount of hand sanitizers we all used.
So now it has done its thing, and if we are happy with the result of the EQ, we don't have to do anything more. There's of course some other buttons here as well. We have this three, the air, the body, and the clarity. And very simple, if we want to work with it in the fashion of adding more bass into the voice, we'll go towards the body. The air is like higher tones, and then the clarity is the clarity of the voice. Also, to figure out this setting down here, it is intensity. And for instance, and let's say we want to do some kind of a YouTube documentary kind of thing, we might want to take the intensity of this plugin to, let's say, 2 or 3, something like that. Let's have a listen to that.
We'll all remember the insane amount of hand sanitizers we all use.
To make it sound a little bit more normal and a little more like it would in real life. If we want to make this a little bit more extreme, like a podcast, we might want to change this up to in between 4, 5, and 6. So let's bump it up to 6 and have a listen to that.
You'll all remember the insane amount of hand sanitizers we all used.
And as you could hear right now, it is more like this radio podcast voice. And then if you are in a studio situation where you have pop filters and whatnot, and that is making your voice a little more damp, you would maybe go up to 8, 9, or 10. So in this case, let's go to 9. And let's have a listen here.
You'll all remember the insane amount of hand sanitizers we all used.
So that is the basic of the Voice AutoEQ, a nice, lovely tool in the bundle. Okay, and finally, the last little plugin you have in the bundle here is actually a clever way to make you do voice editing faster. I'm just going to talk you briefly about how it works, but it is the audio cleanup assistance, and I'm going to take that, I'm going to drag that into my clip, and then we have this pop-up menu coming up here, and this is now an empty canvas of what we want to do. We can enter up to 5 plugins in this setup and tweak them as we want. And there is also a big variety of different process and setups. So for instance, let's take Podcast Ready. This is this setup we have here, and you can see there is a noise remover, a de-esser, a voice AutoEQ, and a voice leveler. And then we have a last empty slot where we can add in something. So let's just have a listen to how that actually works.
When we look back at 2020, we'll all remember the insane amount of hand sanitizers we all used.
Okay, and then we can, of course, there's not so much space here, but of course we could, play the clip
at 2020
and then change around things. And this is where I ran into a problem using this thing, because when I actually want to change something, my version of Davinci Resolve crashes. I don't know if that is something wrong with my software or something in the communication with Accusonus or Davinci. I don't know. The issue is not there. If I just do a lot of different plugins, I can do the same amount of plugins
in Davinci, no problem. But as soon as I use the cleanup assistant, it crashes my program and I have to start all over. So I didn't try it out in other software, but in Davinci there is a glitch, some kind of a problem. Hopefully that will be fixed with a firmware update very soon, because it is a super nice feature and I have seen it work in other programs. So besides the problem I had with the video cleanup assist, the software itself worked flawlessly. So just to show you that, I'm actually going to show you first a clip where I did do nothing to it, and then afterwards the same clip where I applied some things, and then you can hear the difference of what this software actually can do for your sound.
So filmmaking is all about using your imagination and your creativity to make great, awesome stories. So filmmaking is all about using your imagination and your creativity to make great, awesome stories. So that was a look at the ERA5 bundle from Accusonus. I do hope you found my video useful, that it helped you out. Again, the pricing for the standard bundle will start from $7.99 a month in the subscription. Of course, if you are interested in supporting this channel, there'll be links down in the description, and I do get a small commission fee if you use those links, and that will help me and the channel to make more content, but you are not going to pay a dime more for the product. So take a look at the different prices and the models and the different links down in the description below. Well, that being said, I do hope you liked the video, that it helped you out, and that you are excited about the ERA5 bundle. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until next time, keep filming, keep learning, and keep sharing.